right, so you clicked on the video, which means that more than likely you are probably struggling with your marketing. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that you're not getting results. I don't mean that you're not making money with your marketing, but maybe it's just confusing right now. It feels a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff going on. You're not sure what to triple down on. You're not sure what you should pivot from. And I think the most important part of this is that when it comes to modern marketing, you have to understand how a consumer operates, meaning that you know exactly what's going on in your customer's mind before they purchase from you, before they book a call, if you're a higher ticket service or a service that requires that. And so what I wanted to do is break down in real time an actual visual map for you so that you can understand what's going on in a consumer's head and the journey that they go through. So I'm not going to waste any time. I just want to get right into this. So as you can see, we in this video are going to take your marketing from random tactics to a full operating system that is predictable. Now, when it comes down to just kicking this off, I want to just ask everybody here a question. Do you know your metrics? And I ask that because so many businesses that we've audited, that we work with, our current partners, they just don't know their numbers. And I'm talking businesses in some cases that are doing 500K plus per month. They just don't track anything. Like they found something that worked, they got positive reinforcement, they should keep doing it. But if you were to say, as an example, I'm just going to ask each of you here, just two basic things. Do you know your cost to acquire a customer? And do you know your LTV or LTGP? If you guys don't know what that means, it's lifetime value. So lifetime value of a customer, how much money do you make off of a customer? What is their value to your company? And then LTGP is lifetime gross profit. So two different things to track. Now, I ask you that because if you can't answer those two questions, how on earth are you going to scale? Because if you don't know those two basic metrics, nothing else really matters, to be honest with you. Now, if you're new and you're saying like, hey, I'm making 100K a month, I'm making 50K a month, and I don't know these numbers yet because I've just been growing off of organic, this is still really good for you to know, because as you start putting money into paid advertising, as you start continuing to try to scale your company with different lanes of leads, these are two things you're going to want to note, because the more that you can measure this, it just becomes an input-output game and your marketing becomes math. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to have really good creative. I'm not saying you don't have to know how to run ads, because all those things you do have to know how to do. And you still have to know how to make funnels that are going to convert from an ad, so on and so forth, right? But at a basic fundamental level, math is what you need to understand in order to scale. So two really good things to note. And if you don't have the answer to that, that's why you're here. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can track this. We're actually building a tool internally right now. It's our own app, which this is not launched yet. I want to be clear. A lot of people on the internet will be like, hey, I just built this app in Claude. It's like, yeah, that's fine. Anybody can go and chat and build that, but you can't actually deploy it. So anyway, we're in the process of mapping this out. And the reason this is important is because you need to track your metrics, but not only do you need to track your metrics, you need to track your attributions separately. What I mean by that is like, if some of our clients have 5 plus, 10 plus funnels that are running and they get ads from multiple different sources. So if you're only tracking, if you're tracking these metrics, but it's all blended, you have like as an example, if it's ad spend, and you're trying to track your return on ad spend, and you're tracking all these funnels together, it's a blended ROAS. And it's not going to give you, accurate attribution. So you want to track each of your funnels separately. And you could take the same note. I think you can see here, I've got paid versus organic, right? So you want to track like how many leads are coming in from organic if you have a pipeline of leads that come from organic content. So anyway, I'm kind of getting sidetracked here, but the most important part of this is you got to know your numbers. So you can do this manually, to be clear. You can do this in Google Sheets. This is something that we got from Ryan Dice. Really, really good tool to use and not really that hard to build. Like you could probably take a screenshot of this, put it in Claude, and it could replicate it for you. But in any case, you want to make sure that you're tracking your metrics, and we'll get to this in a later time. Now, for the flow of a customer, this is really why we're here. We're going to go through all this. This is the piece that you have to fundamentally understand in order to be able to cater your marketing, your customer journey, and your sales process to something that's actually going to convert. So I want to just state, I'm not saying all these things are going to happen in the same order every single time, but this is essentially what every lead, specifically from cold, is going to go through. And it's just because this is the way that our brain works. And so this is not new. It's not unique. This is just, modern advertising. Like, things have definitely adapted. I shouldn't say they're not new, because some of these things are new. Like with the incorporation of AI, there are things you're going to see in this process that people wouldn't have done 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. So I shouldn't say it's not new. It is new. That's why it's modern. But in terms of the way that the human thinks, and the way that our brain actually operates, that hasn't really changed. And so we just want to cater to the customer and let them know, hey, we know what we're doing. We're not going to screw you over. We have proof that we've done this before. And if you come to work with us, you're going to get a result. That's really what a customer wants to know, right? Am I going to lose my money? Can this person actually do the thing they're saying they're going to do? And are they going to just rip me off? Like, that's what's going through a consumer's mind at a basic level. So let's break this down. So let's say that somebody sees you from a paid ad. Now, I'm going to use Hormozy as an example. A lot of you guys know who Alex Hormozy is. So this is just an example from his Facebook ad library of the ads that they're currently running. There's like 500 and something. So there's two main things that they're running right now, which is a lead magnet ad and a book a call. Well, not a book a call ad, but it goes to a book a call funnel. And those ads are for business owners. They're calling them out and they're saying like, hey, are you struggling with XYZ? Are you the key man risk in your business? Do you need help scaling? Come out to our scaling workshop. That's what that video is. And then that will lead to a book a call page. So I'll break that down. But the point being is if somebody sees that paid ad and they click on it, what's going to happen from there, depending on which one they clicked on, whether it's the free lead magnet or book a call page, they're going to go to that landing page. Now, if they go to a book a call page, this is what they're going to see. They're going to see, and this is really smart on their end, their landing pages are contextual to what the ad was. So you will see, if you just want to go look yourself, there are more generic ads that they'll run, which will just be like business owners, are you the biggest risk or bottleneck in your business? This one's specifically home service because the ad probably said something about home service. So just a note, you want to make sure that you're doing that. Contextual landing pages to contextual ads. Now, what's going to happen from here is the consumer's going to watch the VSL, and then they're either going to book a call. If they qualify, they might DQ, or they're going to drop off this page because if it's cold traffic, they're not going to know who Alex is, and they might not convert. So that's why we're talking about this, so that you can understand like what actually is going through a consumer's mind. The other thing that might happen if they click on a lead magnet ad is they're going to go to this page and they're going to opt in. Now, they're doing that because they want the free resource. So they got some form of value in an ad or a piece of content or whatever it was. And they're saying, okay, I'm going to give my information, you can opt in. So when they do that, what's going to happen is they're going to be added to an email sequence, which is going to be a nurture sequence, and then they'll be put into a different sequence, and then the generic newsletter. So they'll get probably 2 emails every week, I would assume. What that's going to do is nurture the lead, right? And then additionally, when they download this lead magnet, it's a PDF. I've actually gone through it. It's really good. They're going to go through that lead magnet, get a ton of value. It's going to nurture that lead. And then what's going to happen from there is they're going to have CTAs within the lead magnet. So if somebody goes through that lead magnet, they consume all of it. They're like, oh, this is really good. They can just literally, in the lead magnet, click the CTA, the call to action that's in there. So I think there's like 3 or 4 in the one that they run. So the consumer doesn't have to go back to a landing page. They don't have to go to a website. They don't have to do anything else. As they're getting value, they're going to be like, shit, I need a book call. So they're going to click on it in the lead magnet. Now, the reason that's important is because if it's cold traffic that you're marketing to, this is a whole other conversation. But you've got warm traffic, you've got cold traffic, right? If it's warm traffic, specifically in this case, that's people that probably follow you on organic and they know who you are. And so the trust is already built with that consumer. So the ability for you to convert that person is a lot easier. If it's cold traffic, in order for you to crack an offer that you can sell to cold traffic, you have to have a lot of stuff dialed in. And that's why you guys will see a lot of people in the high ticket coaching space or coaching space in general, they can't really sell outside of their organic audience. And the reason being is because their offer is either not good enough, their fulfillment isn't dialed in, or they're just lacking some factors to actually fulfill on their promise. So maybe they don't have a good guarantee. That could be another factor. But with their organic audience, everybody knows who they are. And they've been nurtured for, in some cases, months or years. So when they have an ask, which is like, hey, I'm doing this coaching program or whatever it might be, it's a lot easier to convert that traffic, right? Whereas it's cold, way different. And so there's a rule that you can think of when it comes to this, which is the rule of 7 hours. Some people say it's 7 pieces of content. I always lean on the 7 hours piece. And what that means is, on average, it takes a consumer 7 hours worth of consumed content that you post, whether that's ads, a podcast, short form like Instagram, YouTube, long form. Doesn't matter what it is, but on average, it takes that amount of time and that amount of nurturing for them to feel comfortable booking a call or taking an action or buying something. Now, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you sell a high ticket service or you're a coach or consultant of some sort. That's primarily who we talk to. We do work with e-commerce brands, to be clear, but primarily the systems that we build are for high ticket. And so the reason that's important is because if I sell a nail, it doesn't really take that much convincing for someone to know they need to buy a nail, right? They already are problem aware, they're solution aware for the most part. And then in some cases, they're product aware. So like they just need to see you post something like, oh, I want that. And even if they're not, it's not really that hard to convince somebody to buy a $2 thing. Versus if you sell something that's $2,000, $5,000, we sell stuff that's $18,900 plus. We actually sell an offer right now, it's $25,000. And so the amount of information the consumer needs and the amount of nurturing that it takes to convert that person and a killer offer is way different than a $2 product. So that's why I talk about these things a lot of like consumption cycles and getting the consumer to consume more content faster, because it's really important for conversions. So in any case, they see the ad, maybe they go to a book call page, maybe they go to a lead magnet page, whatever it might be. What's going to happen from here is they're probably going to go look at your organic content, especially if it's cold traffic and they haven't seen you before. They're going to look you up. And the first thing they're going to see in most cases is, hopefully, is not bad things. They're going to see all your organic content. Now, I want to go through this because this is super critical for conversions. If we look at Alex's pages, this is Instagram. This is, I think this is Facebook right here. This is TikTok. This is LinkedIn. And this is YouTube. I want you guys to see if you can notice the common thing when you look at his bio. Just see if you can point it out. Link, 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 and then in the description for the YouTube video, there's a link too. Those all link to the lead magnet. And the reason that they're doing that is because it adds a lot of value. And the more people they can get to download that, the more traffic that they can own, because they're going to be on their newsletter. Now, I find this to be so smart, what they do, and this is not just them, this is just basically like a rule when it comes to modern marketing, is they're omnipresent, right? They're literally everywhere. They're on every single platform. People know who they are. If you look them up, their SEO is amazing. And it's super critical for a multitude of reasons. But the thing that I want to note here is if somebody were to come from one of those ads and then they go to your organic, if they're to click on his Instagram, what they're going to see here is access to long form YouTube, which the reason they probably put this first is because they want people to consume the long form content. Tweets, podcast, $100 million leads, $100 million offers, something that's more like generic, which is like his fitness content, never skip dessert, just kind of like a funny thing, right? This is all stuff that's going to nurture leads in some form or fashion. And so if somebody's new and they click an ad and they go to this page, they're going to start clicking through stuff. And they're getting closer to that 7 hours of consumed content pretty freaking quick. Now, it's hard with short form because if you do the math on how long it takes to consume 7 hours, it could take somebody months. But if they can get somebody to go to YouTube and they could watch 3-hour-long videos, you're almost there. And, in Alex's case, he's so knowledgeable and has done so much and has so much social proof within the videos that people can just go look up that it's probably a little bit quicker for him. Now, in any case, the reason this is important is because this is what a consumer is going to do. They're going to see if they can go find organic content or more content on the thing that you do or you sell or the process that you follow. I do it all the time. I'm sure if you think about it, you do it too. You just maybe are not clocking it. So what's going to happen from there is they're probably going to go look up reviews. Now, and this could come in many fashions. They might go to Reddit. They might go to ChatGPT. They might go to Claude. They might go to Manus. If you guys haven't heard of that, look up Manus. They might go to watch your reviews that you have on your actual funnel, which ideally they should be doing. And there's a very specific way to structure these, which I'll cover in a different video. They could go to Grok, right? Just another AI tool. They might go to Trustpilot. They might go to Google. The point is they're going to go look up reviews on you, your product, your service, your company, maybe you as an individual. Like, what have you done? Are you going to screw people over? Do people get results when they go through your program or your product, or whatever it might be? Now, if there is something bad out there, I just want to note, you should cover that in your funnel. Like when somebody goes to your landing page, beneath that, maybe cover the thing that's just obvious. Like, hey, just want to be honest with you guys. You might see some stuff out there about me on Reddit. It's normal. I just want to cover those on the front end so that you have full transparency and just like talk through it. There's a lot of crazy people on the internet. Doesn't mean everything's true. Then what's going to happen from there is that person is either going to get retargeted from an ad if they didn't book a call, if they didn't download the lead magnet, or maybe they did download the lead magnet. Doesn't really matter. At some point, they're going to get retargeted with an ad, or they're going to be following you on organic, and they're going to end up clicking a link, or you're going to have a story post where it's going to talk about, in Alex's case, a scaling workshop, which is what the book a call was for. And that's primarily what they're optimizing for at the moment. At some point, that's going to happen, right? And ideally, you've gone through all these steps and you're ready at that point to buy or to book a call at a minimum. And like I said, this process can take a week. It can take 2 days, depending on how much you consume. It can take 2 months. It could take 2 years. And so the thing that I want you to note is, and I'll cover this in the next section, how do we speed this process up as much as we possibly can while adding as much value as we can and not being a scummy piece of shit? Like, that's really what you should try to do. Now, the last piece, when we bring this full circle, is that that person now at this point is going to either purchase or book a call, depending on what you do, and also the price point of your product. This is what a customer goes through. So now what I want to cover is the final notes for you. The first thing that I want to say to you is you need to know your numbers. If you're going to scale anything and you're going to make it meaningful and you want to build a predictable company, you have to know your numbers. So start tracking. If you don't know how to track, go to Claude as an example, give it some context and say, this is the business that I run. This is how we currently get leads. What are the metrics that I need to 100% know in order to be able to scale whatever it is that you're doing? If it's Meta ads, Google ads, whatever. And just start actually walking through it. Share screenshots of the stuff that you currently use if you do try to track. Upload it into Claude and say, okay, now what? What do I do? Okay, how do I actually, build out a process for this, so on and so forth. There's no excuse not to know how to track your numbers. It's really not that difficult. And by the way, you don't have to track everything. Most companies, no matter how big they are, and it really just depends on the service, but you don't really want to have more than like 10 to 15 metrics that you're going to track in total. And when it comes to marketing, I can do a separate video on tracking and what we track and how you can actually actualize the data, because a lot of people just overcomplicate it and they also don't have a visual for it. So maybe they put it in Google Sheets, but they don't have charts, they don't have pie charts, they don't have graphs, they don't have any of that stuff, or trend lines. You can just build it in Google Looker Studio, or whatever tool you prefer. It's just one that I would recommend. So know your numbers. Number 2, cater to consumer psychology. So when we're talking about, and it really depends on like what your customer process is and how you get leads, but whether it's organic content that you currently, that's the only way you get your leads, it's paid ads, it's referrals, it's cold outreach, no matter what it is, at some point people are going to book a call, they're going to go through a process of some kind. And so as they're going through that process, you want to cater to all these things we talked about, which is you should have really good social proof, you should explain your process, you should show people that other humans got a result doing the thing, and ultimately give them clarity on what this is going to look like. And I'll lead into the next thing here in a second, but make sure that and you want to map it out, the entire process that somebody could go through. How do I hit all these touch points as many times as I can and do it in a way that's going to push them further to buying something or booking a call? That's your goal. So one of the ways that I recommend doing that is what I'm doing right now, which is long form content, right? You want to put it out there because you can't bullshit this. If I got on here and I was trying to talk about marketing and I didn't know anything, I'm going to sound like an idiot. Right? I don't have a script. I don't have anything behind me other than a light. And I'm just sitting here talking to you guys because we do this stuff. You can't fake this. So if somebody is, let's say you sell a $15,000 product and you're a coach in the real estate space. If you can sit down for 2 hours and make a YouTube video and add so much freaking value, the person would feel like an idiot not working with you. Because in the 2-hour video, you just conveyed exactly what they want to know, which is this person can get a result. They have done it. And you show proof of that. Like, it's irrefutable. There's nothing you can say to that. The person at that point knows that you know your shit. So make long form content. I highly recommend that you do that on top of the short form content. You should be doing both ideally. Number 4, don't care to be right, just care to actually get a result. This is one of the best things that I've ever learned. I think the first person I heard this from was, I know the book. I'm blanking on his name right now. Anyway, really, really smart book called, why the heck am I blanking on? I think I actually have it down here. The Road Less Stupid. Really, really good book by Keith Cunningham. And he just talks about like how to actually think from first principles. And one of the things that I believe he talked about in that book or in an interview or somewhere was, I don't care to be right. I just want to win. I just want to get a result. I just want to get the end outcome. So don't let your ego get in the way of this, of like, I know my numbers and I know what's best for our customer. The data will tell you. People will lie. Men lie. Women lie. Numbers do not lie. Just keep that top of mind. So don't care to be right, just care to get a result, which means that you should test. And so when it comes to like, should I run this funnel? Should I run that funnel? Or should I do a lead form? Or should I go direct to VSL? Just test it. It's not, and this is something I overlooked for probably 4 or 5 years in marketing, was I was like so fixed on, we have to do that thing. We have to do that thing. Dude, the data will tell you. And you can just use a basic rule of 100. Like, let 100 leads come through, or you can test for 72 hours. That's another rule that we'll do. And get enough data through to figure out, should we actually do this or should we not? Because there's lagging indicators in some cases, and there's some things that are going to be false indicators. So just use 100 people and figure out from there, should we keep doing this thing or not doing it, or run a split test, right, if it's a landing page thing. Number 5, you're not doing enough or you're doing too much of the wrong thing. Now, the reason this is important is because a lot of you guys that I've talked to personally that maybe follow me on TikTok or have watched a YouTube video, it doesn't really matter. I have you guys reach out to me sometimes and you're like, well, how should I get more leads for my business? And I will just ask point blank, how are you currently getting leads? And it could vary. Some people might say, I'm running paid ads. And I'll say, okay, what are your current metrics? They'll tell me. And I say, okay, these are healthy. Why don't you just double your ad spend? Or go up incrementally. There's 2 different ways to do it. Like go up 10% next week. And they're like, oh yeah, I should do that. I'm like, yes, you should. Or in some cases, people will say, we get all of our leads from cold outreach. And I'll say, okay, well, what's your involvement in doing that? I'll say, well, I do all the cold outreach myself. And I'll say, okay, well, can you give up a little bit of what you make? Let's say it's maybe 10% of what you make, or let's just use basic numbers. Let's say you're making $10,000 a month from your business and you do all the cold outreach yourself. You have no leverage. So take $1,000 and go pay somebody to do the cold outreach for you, double the volume, and you can go focus on actually growing the company, which would be making content, being in ads, right? Doing whatever it is that's higher leverage for you to get more of an outcome. So a lot of times the answer is really simple. We just overlook it. We need another person to tell us. So I always recommend, ask yourself, can I do more of what I'm doing or can I make it better? It's a really good rule. And if the answer is yeah, do that thing, right? If you could do something else that's going to generate more of an ROI, then do that, right? Or do both if you can, if you have the bandwidth. So like I said, you're either not doing enough of the thing that's currently working or you're doing the wrong thing. And I think it's one of the most important things you can note. It's one of the most important things you can actually reflect upon. So with that said, those are the final notes. I really hope this is helpful. I'm going to do more in-depth videos on this, but this is basic concepts that you have to understand, because if you don't understand the fundamentals of how these things work, you can't cater to them. So before you're like, oh, I need to build this landing page, or I need to go build this funnel, or I need to do this advertising strategy, you can't until you understand the basics, because everything that you're going to do is going to funnel into the rest of the stuff. If you run a really good ad and then your funnel sucks, doesn't matter. You're not going to convert. If you have all this amazing ad strategy, but you don't know how to make good content in the ads, you don't have good creatives, you don't know how to copyright, it doesn't really matter. You're screwed. So with that said, if you guys do want access to a free tool that we built, which is our landing page tool, it's the 5 key principles you have to follow. I recommend you must follow if you want to get really, really, really high conversions on your landing pages. Just go ahead and click the link in my bio. If you guys do want help scaling with marketing, specifically the modern marketing method is what we call this. That's also my bio. You can book a call or apply to see if you're a fit. In any case, I will see you guys next Tuesday, and make sure to share this if you got value. Subscribe down below if you're not currently subscribed, and there's a whole lot more coming your way. I will talk to you guys next week.